Welcome to Monday night edition of Tatsu Live. I'm your host, Tatsu. So, this is a little bit of rushed. I'm headed off to Minnesota tomorrow for work. And I thought I'd get in one last video before I take off. And if you haven't gotten my last stream up on YouTube, please do subscribe. We're looking hard for subscribers back over there on YouTube. YouTube is an important platform for us. It's going to be an important platform for you, and we need you there. So you'll find the link for our YouTube page channel down below in the description, as always. And so let's get started. So some things have changed a little bit since yesterday regarding the announcement of the easement or preventment of the easement over at DAPL and Standing Rock, Cannonball Run. And what's happened since today and yesterday are a few things. So we have Energy Transfer Partners, Sunoco, actually coming out with a written statement on their own website, stating that they will simply ignore the denial of the permit. So, and this is an official company response, right? It's basically an FU. And what I've been told is that if Energy Transfer Partners does not complete the pipeline by January 1st, then the whole project, the whole deal is off for them. So they have a lot at risk, and it seems as if their policy, their attitude at this moment is, we'll pay the fines. It means very little to us. We're gonna drill. We're gonna drill no matter what. And so I'm not sure if the January 1st deadline to complete the project is actually true or not, if they have some sort of contractual obligation to do so. But the statement in and of itself is basically one of denial. So these are the corporate forces that we're fighting against. These are very strong forces, although yesterday was a victory, a moral one, in that we forced Obama to take a stand, to take a position. The work is not done yet, and so today I feel, and I think a lot of us feel, that our resolve is just as strong and double from yesterday. So while we had that moment of happiness, it's back to work and back to looking at the issues. So what I prepared yesterday on my YouTube talk, and basically, if you haven't seen me before, what I do here at Real Progressives is I prepare. I try to take some time before I talk, give you a whole host of links and notes to go through that I walk myself through. They're always in the description. And if you like my talks, you can always catch the same content one day ahead of time on our YouTube channel. So catch us over there. All right. So the big story from yesterday, actually 6 days ago, from The Guardian, is that Obama's legacy on climate change is not what we think. And we've always questioned, many of us have questioned Obama's true motives, his true agenda. We see that in addition to just being a weak, an ineffectual president, a weak one, with little mandate, and, maybe actually he had a big mandate, but never delivered on any of those campaign promises, or the rhetoric, or the morality behind it. We see that, Barack Obama as a figure is actually causing a lot of damage on a lot of fronts, whether it's civil liberties, whether it's mass surveillance, whether it's wars, torture, suspension of habeas corpus, suspension of the Posse Commandantis Act of 1787, which prevents military forces in the United States being used against its population as a police force, and many other issues. We found from the Guardian article, and some well-known researchers, some who are professors at Columbia University, serious investigative journalists, who've done research into the Obama XM Bank, or Export-Import Bank, and it's an agency that falls under the purview of the executive branch, and this branch has stealthily, quietly funded 70 oil, natural gas projects around the globe, not just in the United States, but around the globe. We're talking, drilling like literally on top of the Great Barrier Reef of Australia, which is, slated for extinction in our lifetime. India, far off places that you would never imagine are, but this is globalism, right? And globalism makes its calling card known through corporate power, and big oil is the one to lead the charge, if you will. So, as it turns out, ironically enough, Obama's clean energy programs, such as clean coal and the like, were scheduled to save possibly 2.5 billion metric tons of CO2 emissions into the atmosphere over a 15-year period. However, the researchers have discovered, to their horror, that the XM projects, Export-Import Bank, again, projects, that Obama has approved will in fact completely negate all of those gains. So, as in climate science, there isn't, if you have, 2.5 metric tons added here and subtracted there, it's not exactly like a net zero. You're still throwing up huge amounts of toxic, not toxic, but dangerous, hazardous materials to the air that we want to breathe. So this is, another one of these legacies of Barack Obama. Even though he's talked a nice talk about climate change, he's utterly failed us and the planet. It's and you can read that's the first link here. There's another more general article about Obama's legacy regarding climate change, not just the Export-Import Bank, but other policies. So I want also draw attention to the many other gas and oil pipelines occurring that are all over this country. If you do an internet search, you can find maps of these, and it's shocking how much of the country they cover. Literally every state. It looks like National Transportation Highway System. And what we know now, and what some of us have suspected, is that oil and gas pipelines are an everyday occurrence. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. And just check out the links. A video from Facebook from a user who lives very close to a colleague of mine, Sandy, of Real Progressives. Literally bubbling gas. It looks like a natural spring of gasoline, natural liquefied gas, in a field, not a field, some wetland wooded area in upstate New York. We have the first thing I searched for. I went back in my time, my history, my memories, and one of the first big name pipelines that I knew growing up was the Alaskan pipeline, officially called the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. And if you go to Wikipedia and click that link, which goes down to quote-unquote incidents. And there's a little chart by the side. You flip the triangle down, you get this chart listing all the leaks, over, I guess it's almost a 40-year time period now. And some of the years have thousands of leaks a year. The record stops in 2008. I don't know what happened, but those incidents are not there. And we have more general pipeline accidents, list of oil spills. And yesterday I was trying to make an analogy regarding history and the connection between class and race and violence. I think a lot of us have put the three together. This, not just this year, but when we talk about American slavery being, even going back to the founding of this country, where we have rich landowners, rich slave owners, exploiting a certain class of people, a certain race of people, for their own economic gain. When the methods of economic coercion or political oppression are not enough, that is when we see the slave driver. That is when we have unjust punishments, lynchings, and the like. And we see this in Nazi Germany. We see this in Standing Rock. And I think I brought up Nazi Germany not to be provocative, but to actually rip off the covers on one of the greatest myths of modern history. In that, was Nazi Germany strictly a racist phenomenon? And the answer is no. And you can clearly see this in Wikipedia. Forced labor under German rule under World War II. The thing about calling the Nazi death camps, concentration camps, the terms that they are, somewhat diminishes the fact that these were, first of all, labor camps, free labor camps for the Germans. The Jews were their slaves until death. So the two in Nazi Germany, the class and the race warfare, quickly fused together to bring about an extreme version of violent end to an entire race. But it was all for money. Let's all not forget that. What they wanted out of the Jews was their labor to build the Nazi war machine to take over Europe. And I see DAPL in very much the same lens. We see a rich company, a rich resource-owning company, trying to not just rob Native Americans of their resources, but and again, if they can't, let's remember that the pipeline was slated to go through Bismarck, and when the pipeline owners could not convince the white population of Bismarck to go against their own interest, they saw the Native American, the indigenous people, as the next best target, the next easiest target to overcome. Hopefully we were proving them wrong, but I think, it's one people I admire this year, and I'm sure you do too, is someone like Shaun King, who bears an important role as a witness to violence against blacks, whether it be motorists being lynched by the police force in this country, or other horrific incidences of racial violence. And while I do, I love Sean King. I think he does something very important. However, I wish he'd tie the issue of violence against blacks closer to tie it to class. So violence against race, sorry, and tie that to class. Tie that to corporate power. Tie that to, the whole system. And he gets some of this, right? He understands that the system, this country, was founded in a way that violated African Americans, that were it was unjust from the beginning. But I don't see the complete picture, the complete analysis from Mr. King, and I have great admiration for him. And I think, maybe in time, there was another king famous in history, as you know, who struggled for many years for racial justice. And towards the end of his life, he became a more complete warrior for social justice, right? For not just the plight of the African American community, but for the poor in general, and took a stand. He took a stand against the Vietnam War and many other, bigger issues of the day. And maybe that's partially why he was assassinated. So, okay. So I'm going to do my little check-in here on the comments, just because I can't see them on this phone. And, whoa, here we go. So we have a link from Dakota history, one of the Sioux tribes at DAPL. Thank you for that, Linda. That's cool. We're in Minnesota. Lana, I am actually going to Minneapolis. So, oh, look at this. Someone has a signed copy of Diet for New America. Thank you. I have two copies, actually. And I bought them a long time ago. This one was the loaner. So for all my friends who I was trying to, convince to be a vegan, that was the loaner copy, right? It's amazing. I still have it. All right. So, yeah. Obama's squandered mandate. It's like his own bank. Yes, pretty much is. Sandy's checking in. Let's see. Sandy's also, and I forgot to mention this last night, and I apologize to Sandy, but I'm going to be sure to mention the other pipelines that we're concerned about, including the northern, I believe it's called the Northern Access Pipeline in New York, if that's correct, Sandy. I do have a link here for it. Actually, I have two. The first link is from natfuel.com, and it's a PDF actually of the actual pipeline being proposed. So that's one in New York State. We have the Sierra Club's take on that. We also have the Sabal Trail pipeline in Florida, and I caught that from your Facebook page today, Sandy, so thank you for that again. Let's see. So, getting on from, the sort of big picture, if you will, connecting slavery, economic slavery, and political oppression to racial violence. And let's remember, this is not something that's just 50 years old, a couple hundred years old, going back to the founding of this country, but it's something that goes back to the beginning of civilization. Ever since cities were around, civilizations were around, we had one group of people, oppressing another, where we have the strategies of war, divide and conquer, and the strategies of governance, divide and rule. That's just the way human beings have been ever since we've become quote-unquote civilized. Now, coming back to the news, this is all from yesterday, under the heading DAPL Climate Change and Oil Spills. We have this, the official stance by Energy Transfer Partners. We have, various, we have Jordan from TYT Politics. We have Tulsi Gabbard. We have our own Chelsea Lyons Kent. And that's an interesting video. If you haven't been to Standing Rock, she gives a real in-depth impression of what it's actually like to live there for 3 months at a time. We have the story of how the white Bismarck residents were spared the pipeline, and then we have all the carpetbaggers, the political carpetbaggers, which are not here today. So we have people like Elizabeth Warren coming on, a day late, days late, years late, on climate change and on this pipeline. It personally disgusts me. I was proud to vote for Elizabeth Warren as my senator whenever it was in 2012, I guess. Is it 2012? 2010? So, but she's been a disappointment ever since. What has she actually stood for, except, to wag her finger at the conservative right or the bankers who actually go away without any punishment? And this just takes the cake. It's it's obnoxious and vile. I just can't stand it. I really personally am done with Elizabeth Warren. Especially to think that she claims, Native American ancestry. It's so embarrassing to, have to, stare down my conservative friends, have them yell Pocahontas, and have nothing to say back to them. Nothing. I can't defend Elizabeth Warren anymore. We have Ivanka Trump, of all people, saving the planet. She was supposed to meet with Al Gore today. Al Gore actually ends up meeting with Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump about climate change. Could be optics, could be a lot of things. Could be the beginning of a long conversation. We just don't know. And that's probably a good thing about a Trump administration at this point. Let's do a little check-in here. Elizabeth Warren is really late. Elizabeth Warren is all bark and no bite. She's not a leader. I agree with you. Let's not forget Nancy Pelosi's little outburst on Sunday on Meet the Press. Not regarding DAPL, but regarding the Democratic Party and where they stand now. It's claiming that the Democratic Party doesn't need a new direction. And that tells you everything you need to know about the Democratic Party. They have officially left the building, ideological-wise and tone deafness-wise. They they do not know what they're doing. They're completely incompetent, out of touch with reality, and incapable of doing the job at hand. And they will be destroyed. They will be wiped out in 2018. Once the Senate is controlled by a supermajority by the GOP, Democrats, liberals, progressives will have no other choice except to bargain with the GOP to not pass, laws that we don't like or whatever. Anyway, it's too late. It's been too late for, that political that particular political party for some time now. It's time for new ideas, new people, possibly new parties, but mostly new movement building. And to sort of encourage us, I've given us links here looking at other paths forward outside of the United States. Statements by famous socialist Democrat Jeremy Corbyn of UK, and how the government there, he's saying, embrace the socialist agenda or be destroyed. And it's very much the same situation here for the Democrats. I won't talk about Bernie Sanders anymore. You know how I feel about him. I think his moment is past, sadly. I think while we'll always owe him the greatest gratitude for potentially starting something that becomes a movement, his role inside the Democratic Party will not get us to where we need to go. He's kind of the Moses of our time, right? He gets to the top of the desert and looks over into the border of the Promised Land, but he's not going to be the one to ever walk through the gates with us, if we ever do. And all right, so we have South Korea, 2.5 million people protesting for their president's resignation. We have 150 million Indian people doing labor strikes. We have that's over this year. We have protests in Brazil. We have the French protests. We have a lot of protests around the world, and these movements in other countries should inspire us. I mean, I said sort of waxed a little philosophical last night in that Billy French. I don't agree with this moment being passed. I voted for a Bernie Krat in the local runoff today. Well, I agree with you in sentiment, Billy. I believe that Bernie's personal effective role is past. He did his job, right? And he's inspired so many of us to act. He's inspiring other Bernie Krats in his mold. But when I say his moment is past, I think he's allowed himself to be co-opted by the Democratic elite, the political elite, being given a leadership position that is rather meaningless, being resigned to being a sheepdog for the Democratic Party to gather what little votes they can in 2018 or 2020. Could he run for president again? I don't think so. Did he support Tim Canova? Did he support single payer in Colorado? Did he meet with Teacher Rideout? Did he support good candidates on the OurRevolution.com page? Did he even talk to anybody from a third party? Did he even mention Jill Stein's offer to be top of the ticket for the Green Party? He did not. So, let's see, where am I? Getting a PM here from Steve. I think we're actually on target for a half an hour. And let's see, Jeff Vance, you won't support Tulsi under Dem Party either. That's a question from Jeff. And I think at this point, it's unfortunate, but we have to look at the individual, not the party. We have to kind of cast that aside. I have to put my own biases against the Democratic Party aside when I step into the voting booth next time. And although I have my reservations about Tulsi Gabbard, just like I have my reservations about Bernie Sanders, She's proven herself in recent in this election cycle to be a worthy elected official. I have some questions about her past, but they're mostly sort of identity politics kind of things, which I don't like to talk about, which I think divide this country into subpopulations that effectively are being toyed for just for votes by the two major parties. So let's see. Maybe I will vote for Tulsi, maybe I wouldn't. Depends what she ran on and ran for, and what she says. So I feel the same way about Keith Ellison. We have a severe policy disagreement with Mr. Ellison regarding his attitude, his support of the invasion of Libya, his support of a no-fly zone over Syria, which is on his website, and Nina Turner. Yeah, she's. I'd like to know more about her. I don't think she's got a. She's a powerful voice. I need to know more about her. So. Okay, so Gigi. Bernie's being thrown in with corrupt Dems. They have them as their main sheepdog PR flack to hurt in young and progressives. He's on a short lease. Yeah, he's been on a short lease for a while. I think Jordan from TYT has reported on this quite frequently. So, Ellison is pure poison. Well, his analysis of the wars abroad are poison. Like I said last night, no-fly zone really means a free kill zone for the United States. I don't understand why he doesn't get that, especially being a Muslim. So he supports killing his fellow Muslims in other countries. It doesn't really make sense to me, but all right. So Wiz Clark Jr. Yeah, perhaps. His father was someone I respected. He's the one that told us all about the neocon PNAC Project for a New American Century plan to overthrow 7 countries in 5 years, immediately following 9/11. And Wiz Clark, I've seen him in the news feed. I haven't heard from him yet. I haven't seen him talk or anything he's written. There's hope. So basically, it's a wide open 2018, but the attitude, the positioning of the Democrats looks absolutely horrible. And as Jimmy Torr has pointed out, Donald Trump ran to the left of Hillary Clinton in this election cycle, and that is why he won. So, being outflanked on your left by Donald Trump, if that's the Democratic Party, then what hope do they have? All right, I think there's other events going on. I think we have Arne Marconi, who ran for House of Representatives this year, a Green, I believe, and RP streamer. He's probably colliding with me, so I should get off. But thanks again, as always, for the thoughtful comments and your shares and your likes and all that you do. So again, please stop by the YouTube channel and subscribe to that. All right. So I'm just checking one last time before I start packing for my trip. And we all better get out and vote in the 2018 midterm. Did I see what happened in Michigan? Not yet. Thank you for that. Good night, Lisa. You as well. And that's about it. All right, guys. Good night, and we'll talk to you next time on YouTube.